What's up, guys? Welcome to Talking to Fans, episode 38. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We do baseball content. Spring training has returned, and baseball is back. So that only means one thing. Stuff to talk about again. Not just free agent talk and account talk during the lockout. No, we got actual baseball to talk about again. So yeah, before we get into Talking to Fans, episode 38, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and go check out Baseball Lifestyle. They have everything baseball, everything merchandise related to baseball. So yeah, definitely go check them out. And today's guest is I'm Dansby Swanson Lowe. What's up?
What's up, Hayden?
What's up, man? So obviously you're a Braves fan. Obviously you got the I'm Dansby Swanson account. So yeah.
So it's a big surprise here. I really haven't been a big baseball fan for most of my life, but something about a game I watched this year, at the very beginning of this season, I watched a Braves game, and I don't know what it was, but something really clicked with me. I saw a couple of no doubt home runs, and I saw how much the crowd got into it, and man, I fell in love with it. And for the rest of the season, this past year, man, I couldn't stop watching baseball. It wasn't even just the Braves. I watched all kinds of teams, and it was great. But for the most part of my life, I haven't enjoyed it that much. But this year, man, I really fell in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as new as you, but I'm pretty new. I only started watching baseball in 2017, so I'm not a full baseball lifer.
Yeah, I haven't been either. I tried to play baseball. My parents tried to put me in baseball when I was little, and I don't know what it was. It just never seemed to click with me. I kind of regret it now, though, because now I kind of fell in love with the game. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got that following over there, and that's awesome. Like, you're doing edits, and you...
Oh, yeah. The first edit I made and posted onto a TikTok was the day of the Game 6 in the World Series. I made an edit of the Jorge Soler being the World Series MVP, and that was my first edit I ever made.
So you have to think about this. That was November 2nd. That was only a little over 4 months ago, and to see how much you've grown in that time, and that's awesome. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, like what kind of motivated you to even post that Soler edit?
I don't know. For the majority of the season, I had started liking a bunch of baseball videos on my TikTok account, and I kept seeing, or towards the end of the season, I started seeing a lot of videos like edits about different baseball players and Braves players and all this. I think one of the main editors that really made me want to start was probably Lose the Goosey. I saw some of his Dansby Swanson edits and some of the Braves edits about coming back into from barely being like 500 the entire season to being in the World Series. And I thought that was awesome, and I just wanted to be a part of it,
Yeah, I'm actually friends with Lose the Goosey because we're like we don't talk to each other like on a regular basis, but like we text a lot, like we do all that stuff. And we
cool.
just talk about videos. And for you, I know you're about to like regret this so much, and I don't know if you even knew this, but Luz is a girl.
Really?
Yes, really.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Pretty shocking.
That actually makes a lot more sense now. With all the Dansby edits and everything, that actually makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that, but that is cool to know.
I mean, there you go. You just learned something new. We're not even 5 minutes into the podcast. You just learned something new. There we go.
I already learned something new. That is great.
All right, so
that is really cool, man.
Yeah, so I mean, Lose the Goosey is kind of who like motivated you to like start posting edits, or?
Yeah, I think that was the main factor in me posting my first edit, and then from then on, I saw more and more of what the Braves community on TikTok and just really the sports community even being NFL and NBA and everything, and everybody making all these cool edits and everything. I wanted to be a part of it, and so that's why I started.
Yeah, I mean the Braves community is already good, and I have proof to back that up.
Yeah.
Me, Lose the Goosey, Chop RSL, and a lot of other people in the Braves community started a account. It was kind of named after home of MLB, so we decided to go and start the account Home of ATL. At this time of recording, it's like 960 followers. We started a week ago from this recording.
I'm one of those followers, but yeah, I think the way that y'all set that up was it was a great idea, and I think it's really cool.
Yes, I mean, like I posted that the Freddy video, the Freddy Chipper Jones video earlier. I'm not like sure if you got a chance to watch that, but that was by my posting. I've only posted like twice.
That one yet, but yeah.
But I mean, like.
But yeah, I think that account is really cool because I haven't seen that many other teams, fan bases, or editing groups do that. So I think that's really cool. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, like obviously Chop RSL's watching this. Shout out to you. Go follow Chop RSL. But me and him were basically the two people who decided to say, hey, let's start this account. It was really him, and I was just on a call with him, and that's how it got started a little over a week ago.
That's really cool.
So yeah, let's talk about some like sad news. I really don't want to talk about this, but I really don't have a choice. We got to talk about it. Freddie Freeman go to the Dodgers since this podcast. We got Olsen. Freddie signed with the Dodgers. He had his Dodgers press conference.
Yeah, he did. I think it's a really sad thing to see as a Braves fan, and I love Freddie Freeman as much as the next guy, but there's a certain point where you have to look at it and see that Olsen is not only the better player, but he's also younger. He's 5 years younger, and he is very much cheaper per year than Freddie was. That his contract was going to be. So I think in the long run, that's the best thing that the Braves could have done, as much as it hurts to see Freddie go.
Yeah, I think in the long run, like, I mean, you're going to have to, like, have a lot of money tied up to Freddie Freeman. You got to think about this. You got to have a lot of money tied up to him when he's 38 years old. And
exactly. That was another thing, because if you look at the history of the MLB, how has it gone when you offer a player who's 32 plus years old, when you've offered them a long-term contract? Historically, it hasn't been a very good thing for teams to do.
Yeah. So, just like watching that press conference, watching him walk to the field in a Dodgers jersey, I know that had to make you feel bad. I know it made all of us feel bad, no matter if Olsen's better or not.
Yeah, I know. As all of us being a Braves fan, I think seeing Freddie in a Dodgers uniform was probably one of the most heartbreaking things that I've seen in my time watching baseball. It really hurts, because you never think a guy like Freddie Freeman, who's played 12 years of his career in Atlanta, to see him in a different jersey, that really stings, man.
It really does. It does for sure. And just thinking about the whole Freddie Freeman alone side of it, it hurts a lot, and it will hurt for a long time to come. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get to opening day over this.
It's really going to be tough, and I think I might try to convince my family to go to the first home game against the Dodgers, so that I can be part of that crowd cheering Freddie Freeman on.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to watch, but to see him play again would be a great thing to do.
I mean, I would love to see Freddie Freeman, and it's anytime I get
recently probably Nolan Arenado returning to Coors Field. That was a really cool thing to see when he got a standing ovation for him.
I think it's going to be great when Freddie returns to Truist. I think it's going to be one of the best moments of all time.
It definitely has the potential to, and it definitely probably will be.
Yes. So, out of the whole Braves stuff, let's move on to the rest of MLB because there's been so much stuff that's happened since.
It has been a crazy off season.
It has,
especially with the lockout and everything. Even without the lockout, it's still been a off season to remember.
Yeah, I gotta talk to you because this is the first episode. Yeah, it is the first episode, or one of the first episodes since baseball's been back. When baseball returned, when the lockout got done, when Passan reported that deal was done, and you saw it, how did that make you feel?
I couldn't even express to you the joy that I had. I already mentioned earlier in the episode that I haven't even been watching baseball for, at this point I still haven't even been watching baseball a year ago. But the way that I had been missing it and knowing that spring training was supposed to start a couple weeks ago, man, it really hurt to know that it was going to be delayed. But man, when that agreement was signed and I knew that baseball was going to be back, it made me so happy.
It feels so good because it could have been a lot more than a week, knowing this.
It could have. It had the potential to.
For me, honestly, when baseball was back, I hopped on an Instagram live. I saw the tweet. I hopped on an Instagram live, and I was just so happy. Probably one of the best lives I've ever done.
That's great, man. I mean, it's just unexpressible joy because the thing that really sucked for me was because I had only been watching baseball for about a year. Of course, the first off season that I've been watching the MLB consistently, and it resulted in a lockout. And I thought that really stunk because the first year I started watching baseball, and now we got a lockout, and I don't even know if baseball is coming back or when it's coming back or anything.
Yeah, it's just awesome. I go back to February, that Saturday and Monday, notably, when we were up to 2 a.m. and there wasn't a deal done, and a deal didn't get done. I go back to those days and think, wow, we're in this, and we're out of it, and it feels so good.
It does. It really does.
So let's move into some of these free agents. Not predicting where free agents go for once. If y'all watch the podcast, y'all know about that. But let's move into some free agent signings for once. Carlos Correa, he went to the Twins, 3 years, $105 million. How do you feel about that?
Man, I think that is definitely going to be one of the most surprising signings in the near future or the distant future, or you could say whatever, of the MLB. Man, no, I don't think anybody in the world had Carlos Correa going to the Twins, because you look at their team and you don't really think of them as a win now team. You think they should be moving more towards a rebuild. They do have stars like Buxton, but their team as a whole is not very, very strong. You really think that they'd be moving towards a rebuild, and then they go out and get $100 million shortstop, and you just wonder why. And then you wonder why Correa signed the deal. It's just I still don't understand it, and I don't think a lot of people do, but it is what it is.
Obviously, there's nothing we can do about it as fans. It just really shocked me. I literally just hopped on Instagram Live before the podcast and was talking about how, I was shocked that Correa went to the Twins because I was very shocked.
I was very shocked as well. I heard the news, and I kind of did a double take. I was like, did I read that right? The Minnesota Twins? And then I was like, well, sure enough. But, I mean, it still doesn't really make sense to me or anybody else because, I mean, you think of all the places he could have went. He could have really went to, like, any team in the MLB if he really wanted to. But, I mean, to go to the Minnesota Twins, who really aren't a great team and will miss the playoffs next year almost undoubtedly, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess some things just never do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Twins are making the playoffs, but I'm not going to be the person to count them out either because I counted out the Twins before. Look what happened. And, I mean, I'm not saying they are going to make the playoffs. I'm just going to say don't count them out. Because they're that team who just, one year they look like they're going into a rebuild, and the next they get superstars and they win. That's just how.
That's exactly who the Twins are. They are a very unpredictable and surprising team, and you really don't know what you're going to get with the Twins until opening day.
And yeah, one thing, if we have Twins fans watching, I'm sure we do, but you got to win a playoff game.
You got to do that first.
Exactly. You got to make it to the postseason. You got to win a playoff game. That's all you got to do. You have to win a playoff game before you can imagine winning a series. Twins fans.
You got to win a game before you can win the series.
Exactly. Well put. So yeah, this signing, you said you're wondering if you read the Correa to the Twins right. You're going to be wondering if you read this right. Chris Bryant to the Colorado Rockies.
Man, this one I don't think was as surprising as Correa to the Twins. I think that one was the most surprising. But Chris Bryant to the Rockies, I did see his introduction to the team. I thought that he made some. I watched it briefly. I didn't watch the whole thing through, but I think there was more to him signing with the Rockies than just being on the Colorado Rockies. You know, like there was more of a ulterior motive with that signing than anything else. I believe, with family reasons. I don't know his early years of his life. Probably. But yeah, I mean, even that one was a surprising one as well.
Well, yeah, the big thing that comes to my mind is let's just go through Chris Bryant career. World Series, check. Rookie of the Year, check. MVP, check. Hall of Fame potential. We don't know.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that comes to my mind.
Potential, absolutely. Is he there yet? No. But he does have the potential to be. And I think by him signing that deal, how many years was it?
7,
again?
I believe.
7 years? I mean, 7 years, and he's already not the youngest guy in the MLB. I just don't know what he was planning on doing with his career, because right now he is most likely not a Hall of Fame player, but he needs like a tiny little push to get in there, you know? He just needs a few good years left in the tank on a good team, and he will be there. No doubt in my mind.
And I think when it comes to him making the Hall of Fame, there's going to be a lot of people that be like, and we already know these people. These people are well known. They're well known with Arenado when he left St. Louis. He's just good because he's in Coors Field. So that's really, I know that's going to come if Chris Bryant's able to make the Hall of Fame. In the Hall of Fame voting, that's what's going to come to fans. And so I mean, he's going to be a player who gets some hate because of him being in Coors Field and him performing well in Coors Field and him being so inconsistent in Chicago and in San Francisco.
that will most likely, like the rest of these 7 years, whether he, even if he performs well, but if his team will be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Produce anything of the sort, because you're not going to make the Hall of Fame if you're Chris Bryant right now, if you stay on this Rockies team that last year was below 500, way below 500, I believe.
Yeah, so, like, the big thing is, are the Rockies going to be at a point where they can start winning 2-3 years before that deal comes to an end?
Well, I mean, let's look at this. They lost Trevor Story, who was undoubtedly one of the brightest, well, not last year, but in the past couple of years, has been undoubtedly one of the brightest spots on a Rockies team that's really struggled even when they had Arenado 2 years ago. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, because they've lost a couple players. Now, given they do have some good arms, they do have some good players, and they have some decent prospects in their farm system, I'll give them that. They have some young guns in the rotation and the bullpen that I think have the potential to be pretty good, but I just don't know. I don't really know what to expect from the Rockies at this point, to be honest, with that signing.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I don't know what their future is going to set up. The big thing is, for Colorado, what do you want to do? Do you still want to go into a rebuild? I'm guessing they do, and I'm guessing they just want to build around a player, and that player being Chris Bryant. That's why they probably made that.
That would be the most reasonable explanation, is that they just need to rebuild around a player.
And like losing Arenado, a lot of like baseball fans are like, you had Arenado, why did you trade him and go get another third baseman 2 years later? It's exactly because of that.
That's one. No, I know baseball's a lot different than basketball, but the most relevant example of that rebuilding around a player, I think, is Oklahoma City Thunder rebuilding around Russell Westbrook. When they lost Kevin Durant and they lost most of their players, they had Russell Westbrook, and they just started from ground zero and built around him, getting guys like Paul George and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and making that team a playoff team. Now, I know in baseball you need a lot more than 2 or 3 players, but that would be the best. And what comes to mind for me, that would be the best example of another time that's been relevant.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing with the Rockies is they have 2 good players who have been in the game for a while to look up to, like the young guns that are in the lineup and the young catchers. They have Charlie Blackmon and they have Chris Bryant.
Yep, they definitely have players with potential to be great players to carry them through to being that Rockies team that I get that Colorado fans are looking for. But as of right now, I don't really see I see the potential. I don't see the production.
Yeah, but I mean, if you fast forward 5 years from now, they may be like the 2018 Braves, where they might just sneak in, because that NL West 5 years from now is still going to be stacked. I mean, you still got the Giants, who are probably going to perform well. You still got the Padres at that time, and you still got the Dodgers.
You'll have the Dodgers. Obviously, they rake in boatloads of money every year. They'll just continue to buy $100 million players from each free agency. You look at the Padres; they'll have a Fernando Tatis Jr. that's in his prime at that time. Most likely, if injuries, Lord willing, injuries don't keep him out from producing like the Hall of Fame player that he potentially could be. And then you look at the Giants, who they never really have a great team, but they are absolutely the Tampa Bay Rays of the National League. You look at a team on paper that doesn't seem like it's going to do a great job in that year, and then they just surprise everybody, and they go on a tear with players that nobody's ever even heard of, and they've got 100-something RBIs with the blink of an eye.
Yeah, like you had guys step up big. I mean, they still had the potential to. The thing was, were they? You had Belt and you had Crawford. Those are the two hitters in the lineup that you look at for who stepped up the most that was bad the year before. And you got guys
definitely probably going to be Crawford right there. But yeah.
But yeah, and like you have guys like Lamont Wade and you got Mikey Stremski who are going to like do good for the future. I really see a lot of potential in both of them.
You've got potential for the future in that Giants team.
You got the potential for right now, and you got the potential for the next decade.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm trying to like figure out who else signed in free agency.
Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber to the Phillies.
Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber.
What do you think about that?
As a Braves fan, and obviously a Braves fan too, I'm not trying to leave you out of this, but it's gonna make our competition a little bit more worse, a little bit better.
It will.
But
our competition will be a lot better than it was last year.
Like the big thing though is you gotta bet. The Phillies need to wake up and realize, when are you gonna sign pitching?
Exactly. Like they have good rotation arms, like Wheeler, who's probably one of the top 5 best pitchers in the league potentially, and then you have Nola, who's another good arm. But then past that, and especially in the bullpen, there's really not a lot of strength at all in that bullpen. That might be one of the bottom 5 bullpens in the league.
Yeah,
it's just not good at all.
Like, I don't know what the Phillies were doing, like, when they got Jerry's Familia.
I have no clue either.
Like, he's the definition of, like, too inconsistent. And, I mean, if that slider is good every day out, he will have a lot of success, but it's usually not that good.
It's a day-to-day thing with that guy, but I mean, if you really look deep into that rotation and bullpen, you really just don't see a lot of guys that are fit to pitch to, especially a now improving National League East with all the big signings that the Braves, for one, and the Phillies have done, and no, not the Phillies, because that's what we're talking about. The Mets went out and spent a boatload of money on all those hitters that can be a nightmare for any pitching staff on any given night.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a lot more signings to talk about. This is the last signing I'm really going to talk about on the podcast, and stay tuned for next episode for more of these signings like Rosario and Jock, Soler and Jock, my bad. We're going to talk about this Rosario one right now. Rosario re-signed with the Atlanta Braves. How does that make you feel, as Rosario had a great NLCS against the Dodgers?
I think that Eddie Rosario has one of the biggest upsides out of any player that we acquired at the trade deadline last year. If you look at Duvall, Soler, Jock, and Rosario, I think him and Soler have the most potential to improve and become a nightly nightmare for any pitching staff in the league, no matter the size or stature. Because you look at the way that Rosario hit against one of the best rotation of bullpens again in the Dodgers in the NLCS, and you see all that potential that he has hitting off of guys that that make up one of the biggest super teams in all of baseball. And you think that, wow, this guy really has the potential to. It's like any given night, he's got the potential to absolutely just light it up. And I think that it's a great signing for the Braves. And I know for him, his words were it was a no-brainer. So I think it was a great signing for us.
Yes. So last question I got on the podcast, and definitely feel free to stay on and we can talk about content or just whatever if you're not doing anything. But the last question I got is if you had to pick someone, and I mean someone like a creator or a friend or anyone to come on the podcast, who do you challenge to come on the podcast?
If I had to challenge someone to come on the podcast, well, let me rephrase this. Who have you had come on the podcast before?
Creators wise, LA Sportsway, Braves _baseball. It's kind of about it. Johnny G123, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his content, but he came on, and yeah, that's kind of about it.
You mind if I think about this for a second?
Yeah.
If I had to pick anyone, I'd probably go with. I challenge. Let's say get somebody that is part of Home of ATL. Let's get them on here.
Let's get them on here. Okay, Home of ATL.
I don't really prefer anybody over anybody else, but let's get somebody from Home of ATL on here.
Okay, I'll reach out. I mean, I'm a big part of that account. I'll DM someone from Home of ATL, and we'll set it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for y'all, peace out. For you, I'm Dansby Swanson. We'll stay on and talk. But yeah, for the rest of y'all, spring training baseball is back, and peace out, Hey Nation. Thank y'all for watching.